Good evening, people. It's me, Courtney. I'm back again with another video from my book, How to Survive in Babylon. And this evening, I'm going to talk about co-parenting. This is chapter 17. Now, for those of you that were together, right, and you've now split up and you've got children involved, it's at this point you're now going to be co-parenting, right? And there's a way to go about co-parenting. There's a reason why I've written about this section. Well, there's a reason why I've actually talked about co-parenting in my book. It's because what I often see is that co-parenting is something that a lot of us are struggling with. You know, we're struggling to co-parent on a civilized level, where there's a lot of damaged children that are very much in the middle of both mother and father, that are sometimes at war with each other. Sometimes they can't even stand one another, and they are bickering, arguing, and they are putting their personal feelings towards each other before their actual child, before their children, and their children actually grow up very damaged because both parents just couldn't get their act together, in terms of they couldn't just put their personal differences aside and just focus solely on raising the child. So it was necessary to talk about co-parenting in today's modern Western world. And I just want to mention 4 points of co-parenting that can really help, you know, enrich and enhance the co-parenting circumstance. And I just want to read them out quickly. So number 1, we have both parents need to be on the same page. Both parents must respect each other, and the child must be the primary focus. And the next one I've got is put personal feelings aside. Now, often what we see when it comes to the co-parenting is that there's a lot of problems in the co-parenting situation today, right? Because what's happening is that a lot of the time, both of the parents that are split have unfortunately carried their feelings over to, you know, when it comes to raising their child, their feelings are involved. So whatever negative feelings that they had when they split up with each other, they are still holding on to them, right? And they're putting their personal feelings first instead of focusing on raising the child, right? I know some men out here that have had to go to court, right, to try and get access to their child because the mother of the child or children won't allow him to see his children. So now he's had to go to court, spending excess money in a court system that had no involvement in bringing up that child or even bringing the child into the world. Now he has to be paying money to people he doesn't know, and they're now going to be giving orders on when and how he's going to see his child. Right? He has to pay excessive court fees when that money could be going towards investing in the future of that child or children, right? And this is all because the mother is being, she's being very difficult, you know, not allowing him to see his children, right? So he's now having to go down the court system to get access to his children. And this man is going through pain and suffering because he hasn't seen his children for a while, right? And this makes no sense. Right? And you have some fathers that sometimes don't even care about their children. They only care about, you know, trying to get back with the mother, or sometimes even just trying to have some sex with her. Right? He doesn't care about his children. He just care about, you know, having sex, you know, relieving some, you know, his sexual desire, just to lay down with the mother of his child or children. And that's very much what he's interested in. Sometimes, you know, he's very much interested in, you know, that if she's met someone else, he wants to know who this man is. Now, I get that, but he's more concerned about who she's seen rather than thinking about, wait there, but my children, how are they? Did they need clothes? You know, what knowledge do I need to teach my children? He's more concerned about who the mother's seen. That's none of his business, right? Unless that man is a problem to the children, then that's where the father can sort of be concerned about, who's this man around my children? It's bringing problems around my children. That's different. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about his primary focus is, who is this man that you're seeing, right? When that's not what it's supposed to be concerned about, right? Again and again, that's just selfish, right? Because so you just heard the two scenarios that I've laid out. The mother has the father going to court to see, to try and get access to his children, right? Costing him money, costing him stress, right? And then sometimes you said the father doesn't really care about his children. He's just concerned about having sex with the mother of the children. More concerned about doing that, more concerned about who she's moved on with, rather than actually focusing on his children, right? So that's two scenarios of two selfish parents that only care about themselves, right? And there's no concern for the children, and the children are just being left in the middle, being damaged, hurt, right? Run down, because the two parents are not very much on board. They're just very much, there's a bit of neglect in there somewhere. You know, there's neglect of the child's development. There's neglect of the child's well-being, because they're too focused on their own personal issues or emotions. You see, so in order for co-parenting to work, feelings has to get put aside, right? The primary focus is raising your child and making decisions together to raise a healthy child, right? And to equip your child with the tools to maneuver in the Babylon system, or should I say, the Western society. Because if both parents are at war with each other, the child is now going to be raised by someone else. And when I say someone else, I'm talking about, society. Society is going to raise your child. The school system is already raising your child already, because your child is at school 5 days a week. And now, on top of that, mother and father, who are no longer together, are arguing and they're at war with each other. So now, neither of you are raising your child, because you're too busy being at war with each other. And you can't put your problems aside and just say, let's just come together to raise our child. I'm not saying you have to get back together, but come together to raise your child, because Babylon is very much hard at work. And Babylon is going to brainwash your child, eat your child for breakfast, and spit them out raw, while you two are at war with each other over petty emotions that have no relevance into raising your child. Right? So it is important to focus on raising your child so your child can get the best experience from both parents. Right? I understand when you both split up, you were both hurt, you were both upset, both of you may have said some things that were hurtful to each other. And yeah, you're both heartbroken and hurt. But you've got to put that aside and focus on what's best for the child. Right? And when it comes to co-parenting, right, one thing you don't want to do is always point out the negatives in each other. Look at the positives in each other on a parental level, not on a personal level. Remember, this is not personal. This is business. Look at raising your child as a business. And what I mean by that is you've got to focus on the business and the duties of raising your child, right? So personal feelings have to be put all the way aside, right? And look at each other on a parental level, right? And look at the positives that you both have in each other as parents, and use that as a vehicle to build a solid foundation for your child, right? When it comes to the negative sides of both, when it comes to the weaknesses in some of your parenting, try to help each other and help strengthen those weaknesses as parents, and, use that as a vehicle. Use that as a vehicle to raise your child up in the best way you can. You see? So that is the best way to go about it. If you keep putting fingers at each other, saying, the mother of my child is not good at this, or the father of my child is not good at that, if you keep focusing on the negative side of things, then you're never going to be able to come to a positive conclusion on how you can both strengthen each other to be better parents to your child. You see? So to do that, there has to be a sense of maturity. There's got to be an emotion. You both got to be emotionally intelligent enough to sort of, go in your own healing corners, and whatever pain you cause each other, go in your corner of healing and heal away from your children, right? And when you both need to come into the middle to support one another, you do that from time to time. When you need to come in the middle to make a decision for your child, to make a future decision for your children, to, you know, things you may want to discuss, you may want to discuss arrangements for your children. You have to come in the middle to do those things, and there's got to be respect for each other. You've got to be civilized, right? Don't behave like a bunch of barbarians to each other, because that's not going to help raise your child. Your child now is going to be a victim of Babylon now, because both of you are at war with each other. So your child now is seeing that both of you are at war, and sometimes some children will even try to run away from home because their parents are at war, right? And if the mother has a disdain for the father, the children will see that, and that's going to create a very bad image in your children's head. That's going to create a stained image of how your child grew up from childhood to adulthood. And what we don't want is your child to look back in their history to say, my mum and dad hated each other. Is that the kind of memory you want your child to have of you and the father, that you both hated each other? Where is the love? You know, can you not love each other as parents and say, you know what, we broke up, but I still love you as the father of my children. I still love you as the mother of my children, and for that reason, you get my respect, right? And as long as you can both respect each other, and as long as you're both, playing your role, as long as you're both holding your own weight with the children, then there shouldn't really be much issues, right? And another thing as well, that if you're not together and you're not getting back together, stop having sex with each other. Because when you're having sex with each other, that can also complicate the co-parenting process. It complicates it because when one decides to pull back from having sex, one's going to say, why don't you want to have sex with me no more? You know, let's say the mother of the child says that. She goes, she say, why don't you want to have sex with me no more? And the father says, I just want to see the children. And she's going to say, oh, I know what's happening here. You're seeing someone else, right? He's seeing someone else because he now has found another woman, wants to have a relationship with a serious one, and the mother of the child isn't happy about that because now she feels used, because he's just abruptly, just literally stepped back and stopped having sex with the mother of his children, just like that. You know, there was no conversation about it. He just stopped. Now she feels used. Now she's going to get upset and say, you know what? You're not seeing your children no more, right? And then now there's a problem. Where if the sex was not involved, when you both broke up with each other, if the sex had just stopped as soon as you broke up, that complication wouldn't be there. Do you see? So this is what it's about. You've got to minimize the problems in the co-parenting relationship. One of the ways to minimize it is to cut the sex out. No more sex. Strictly about the child. Yeah? And on that note, I'm going to end this video, and I'll see you in my next video.